In today's video, we're going to learn about planning and writing expository paragraphs in first grade. So by the end of the video, you should know all the steps you need to take in order to write your own expository paragraph. A reminder that expository is like your own nonfiction writing. So we are writing about something that is real, and we are writing about facts. At the very beginning of our planning and writing process, we need to stop and think about what we're going to write about. As I'm thinking about expository, it has to be something that's true, like we said before, and we're giving facts about something. So as I'm brainstorming some ideas, I need to think about what I'm an expert at. What do I know a lot about that I can share facts about? Not my opinion and how I feel about something, but really true facts. So I'm going to brainstorm a few ideas to start off. I'm going to think about things that I'm an expert on, things that I could write a lot about that I'm very knowledgeable in. So one thing that I know a lot about is taking care of dogs. I have a dog of my own, and I know a lot about taking care of dogs. Another thing that I know a lot about is taking care of plants. I have a lot of them in my house. We have some in our classroom, and I enjoy helping them live and using them to decorate. Another thing that maybe you'd be an expert on would be Minecraft. So it doesn't have to be something that you do. It could be something that you play or just something that you know a lot about. So that might be another idea that you could write about. Today I'm going to choose to write about taking care of plants and ways to help them survive and live. So since I'm choosing plants, now that I have chosen my topic, I'm going to move to my brainstorming sheet so that I can come up with facts or big ideas about my topic. So if we zoom into this page a little bit, you have copies of this in your planner, in your journal. If we zoom in just a little bit, that circle in the middle is going to be where your topic goes. And so my topic that I'm writing about today is ways to take care of plants. So I'm going to write that in the middle. My next step for planning and writing an expository paragraph is I'm going to think of my big ideas or my facts. And those are going to go around the outside to create my web. So I'm going to try and think about 5 different facts about ways to take care of plants. I'm not going to say how I feel about plants. I'm going to save that for opinion writing, which is later. Right now, I'm just thinking about facts, things that no matter who you ask, they are true. So one thing that I know for sure about taking care of plants is that they need water. A lot of people forget to water them or don't water them the right amount. So that's really important that they have water. So you'll see that I wrote the word water and I drew a line to it as a part of my web. I could draw a small picture next to it to remind myself what it is, but if I did my stretching, I could probably tell what it is, water. Another thing that I know plants need or you need to consider when taking care of a plant is that they need good soil or dirt. So when you fill the pot to plant your plant, you need really good soil for them to live. They can't live without it. Another thing that's important for plants is to get sun. So they'll need to be somewhere where they can get sunlight. If they're inside especially, they should be by a window or somewhere they can get sun. Another thing that's important is putting them in a pot. And so if you bring in a plant, you can't just dig it up from outside and plop it on your floor. It needs to be in a pot or some kind of container. And finally, another thing that I know about taking care of plants is that they have to have some space to grow. So when I put them in a pot inside, it has to be a pot that's big enough that they have room for their roots to grow. Otherwise, the plant won't do well. So now that I have 5 ideas of how to take care of a plant, I need to narrow down my focus to 3 different big ideas. So as the author, it's my choice of what I want to choose. But I'm probably going to choose the ones that I think are the most important or the most interesting for the readers. And so if I wanted to make a book about ways to take care of plants, then I'm thinking that the 3 that are the most important would be water, that they need good soil, and that they need sun, because I know they cannot grow without those things. So I chose those as my 3 big ideas. We're going to color code these to help us as we go throughout our planning process. And so our topic is always going to be green, and our big ideas are going to be yellow. Again, this color coding is just a system to help us make sure we have all those parts and we can see the relation through all of our planning and writing process of which parts we have written. So now that I've brainstormed some ideas in my web, I'm going to take this to the actual expository planner. This is what your planner looks like. You have a page in your writing journals that look just like this. The only difference would be that your circles that you have are not colored in already. So as you write, you can color in your circles on your journal so that you can remember and they correspond to the colors that we just went over in our brainstorm. So the topic would be here and here, and then our big ideas. So let's take a closer look. My topic was ways to take care of plants, and so on my planner that was what was green in the middle, or in my brainstorm that was what's green in the middle, and so I'm going to put that at the top and at the bottom, knowing that those are my topics. When I write those sentences, it has to have something to do with ways to take care of plants. As I look at what's next, I'm going to go back to my web. This is where I can choose what order I'd like to write about my different big ideas. So they could go in any order that I want. I'm the author and I get to make that choice. And so I can pick which one I want to start with. I'm going to start with water because I think it's one of the most important things to know about taking care of a plant is that they need the right amount of water to live. So notice that as I'm writing these, they're just words on my brainstorm, and they're also going to be just words on my planner. So I don't have to write a whole sentence on either of these pieces yet. I'm just getting my ideas down. They're just 1 or 2 words to remind me of what I'm going to write. So water was on my brainstorm, and now it's on my planner as the first thing. Next, I can go back to my brainstorm, and I can choose which one I'd like to write about next. Again, I think I'm going to choose this next one here, soil or dirt, because I know that that's a really big piece of taking care of plants. So that's going to be my second one. I'm going to say just 1 word to remind myself I'm not at sentences yet, so I'll add my soil right here. And then finally, I have 1 more big idea that I need to write. And looking back at my planner or my brainstorm page, I have sun. So I'm going to write sun on that last big idea space. I'd close up my planner with ways to take care of plants. I like to just write them at the same time, but you may save that one for last. But it's going to be your topic again, that green in the middle. So now that I've made my plan, I can start thinking about the sentences that I'm going to write. As I'm writing sentences, I know that each one of these lines is going to be its own sentence. So all together, when I'm finished, I'm going to have 5 sentences. 1 for topic, a big idea, big idea, big idea. So 3 big ideas, and then my conclusion sentence. So we're going to start up at the top of the page, and I'm going to think of a topic sentence. To help you out, on the front of your journals, we have a little chart that you can look at to help you. So we're going to zoom in there up at the topic sentence. It has the word top. It starts at the top of the page or at the beginning of your writing. So as we zoom in to expository writing in our topic sentence, I'm going to take a look at this chart right here to help me with some words and ways to do my topic sentence. The purpose of a topic sentence is to tell the reader what you're going to write about. So just by reading my topic sentence, the reader should be able to know what my whole rest of my writing is going to be about. So to help you, we have this chart. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick 1 phrase from this first column here, first. So these are there are, here are, these are, and I know. Next, I'm going to look at the second column here. So I'm going to pick 1 from this column, 3, many, some, a few. And then next, to finish off my sentence for my topic sentence, is going to be my topic. In this case, my topic is ways to take care of plants. So in order to do this, I'm going to choose 1 from the first column, 1 from the second column. It doesn't have to be in line like it is. I could choose 1 from up here and 1 down here. I could choose these are and 3. I could choose here are a few. It could go in any order you want. You just need 1 from this column, 1 from this column, and finish off your sentence with your topic. So before I can actually write, I need to talk this out. So you can talk this out with either a neighbor, a partner in the classroom. You could talk it out with your teacher, or you could record yourself on Seesaw so that you can have something to go back to and listen if it takes you a while to write your sentence. I like to talk it out with a partner and record myself on Seesaw just so I can go back and remember what I wanted to say. So as I'm looking, I'm going to choose one from this column. I'm going to choose Here Are, and I'm going to choose one from the second column. This time I'm going to do Some, and then I'll end with my topic. Now, as I'm reading this out loud and talking through it, I need to make sure that it makes sense. So I can't just say, here are some plants, because I'm not just writing about different kinds of plants. I'm specifically writing about ways to take care of plants. So that's an important part that I need to include in my topic sentence. And so I'll make sure I talk through that. So here's what my topic sentence would sound like. Here are some ways to take care of plants. Now that I've talked it through, I'm going to write it on my lined paper in my journal. So I'm going to start up at the top at the very beginning of my paper and put just what I talked through. Here are some ways to take care of plants. I have all of those pieces, one from the first column, here are, one from the second column, some, and then my topic, ways to take care of plants. So notice I have a complete 5-star sentence with a capital letter. I ended with punctuation at the end, down at the bottom, and I have a who and a what. So that's really important that I make sure I have a 5-star sentence before I'm moving on. Now that you have a complete sentence for your topic sentence, we can move on to the next part, which is writing our big idea sentences. So let's go back to our planner. We have our topic sentence that's already done, and we're going to take a look at our big ideas, or the yellows here. I need to take one of them at a time and make them into a sentence because I only wrote one word or one or two words to put my ideas down. So now I have to take this and turn it into a sentence. As I'm thinking through this, I can also go to the cover of my journal and take a look at this middle part here, which goes over some tips and some transition words to go with big idea sentences. So as I take a closer look, I have my first big idea, which mine was water, and it has some transition words. So I would want to start my sentence with one of these two words. So this chart goes across like this. My first one, I would choose one of these transition words. With my second big idea sentence, I would choose one of these three, second, another, or next. And then with my third big idea sentence, I would go across like this and choose either third, finally, or last to begin my sentence with. Since I'm right here at the top, I'm going to choose one of these ones. So my big idea was water. I'm going to choose one as my transition word to start my sentence with. Again, before I write, I need to talk it out, whether that's with a partner or whether that's recording yourself on Seesaw. So the sentence I'm going to write is, one thing plants need is water. I have my big idea that I wrote in my planner, and I have a transition word, and it will be a complete sentence. So now that I talked that through, I go back to my page with my writing, and I can add that on there. One thing plants need is water. Again, before moving on, I need to make sure it's a 5-star sentence. It's got capital letters at the beginning. It's got punctuation. It's got a who, and it's got a what. It's my full sentence. One thing plants need is water. So now that I have that and I've ended it with a period, it's a full sentence, then I can move on to my next big idea. So my next big idea on my planner was soil. So again, I'm going to go back to the front. I'm going to choose a transition word to start my sentence with. This time I'm going to go with another. So I have to talk it out first. And I am going to have my sentence be, another thing they need is soil. Now that I've talked it out and I am happy with my sentence, I can write it on the next line here. Another thing they need is soil. Notice again, it's a complete sentence. Starts with a capital letter, ends with a period, has those finger spaces, everything that includes a 5-star sentence. Once I've written my second big idea sentence, I'm ready for the next thing. As I look on my planner, my next thing is my third big idea sentence, which is sun or getting sunlight. So I need to think of how I can make sun into a sentence. I can't just write sun. As I write my big idea sentences, it does have to be a full sentence. And I like to just think about how I would talk to somebody about it. I wouldn't just say sun or plants sun. So looking back at my cover and my transition words, again, I'm going to choose one of those. I'm going to choose finally, and then I'm going to talk it out. So I want my sentence to say, finally, plants need to be somewhere they can get sunlight. Now that I've talked it out, I can write it. Finally, plants need to be somewhere they can get sunlight. So I have that full sentence again, making sure it starts with a capital letter, ends with a period. Those are two major things that first graders tend to miss when they are writing their big idea sentences. So now that I have my topic sentence, I have one big idea, two big idea, three big idea. I need to go back to my planner to see what's next. Last on my list for my planner is my conclusion sentence. To help me with my conclusion sentence, that's going to also include my topic again, is looking at the front of my cover. I can see my conclusion sentence space here. So let's take a closer look at that to help ourselves. This looks very similar to the topic sentence and the transition words. We have different columns and rows of things you can choose from to help you with your sentence. So I'm going to start first with one of the phrases in this first column. Clearly, as you can see, now you know, all in all. So I'll start with one from those. My next step is a phrase from the second column. There are, those are, I know. And then choosing one from the third column. Three, many, a few, some. Finally, I'd complete my sentence with my topic. So I choose one from the first column, one from the second column, one from the third column, and then I finish with my topic. Again, just like the topic sentence, I have to make sure that it makes sense, and I'm not just saying plants, because I'm not just talking about plants, I'm talking about how to take care of plants. So consider that as you're doing it. So I would make sure that I would say ways to take care of plants. I'm going to talk out my conclusion sentence again first with either a partner or recording myself on Seesaw so that I can remember and check myself to make sure it sounds right, making sure I have one from each column. So I'm going to choose which ones I want to do first. I'm going to choose now you know, there are, and many. So I can put those together in combination with my topic to make my full sentence. So my full sentence for my conclusion sentence is going to sound like this. Now you know there are many ways to take care of plants. I like how that sounds and it makes sense. It's a full sentence, so I'm ready to write. I can add that just on to the rest of my writing. Now you know there are many ways to take care of plants. I have finished my conclusion sentence, and now I'm ready for my next step, which is checking to make sure I have all of the pieces that go into making an expository paragraph. I have this checklist up here at the top of my paper that we're going to go through to make sure we have each of these pieces. The first thing that it has is topic sentences. So topic sentences, as you can remember, were green in our planner and our brainstorm. And so I'm going to highlight that in green here for you. You could highlight it on your paper, but I'm just going through and checking so that you can see visually that's where my topic sentence is. So I can see right here as I go through, I can point out my topic sentence that includes those phrases that were on the front of my expository writing journal to help me have a topic sentence. So here are some ways to take care of plants. That is my topic sentence. Since I found it and know for sure I have it, I can put a check mark on my list. That's there. If it wasn't there, then I would need to make sure that I add that to the top of my writing. And in some cases, if you really did forget it, which sometimes you do, You could use this space right here to write it, or you could get another piece of paper to add on. Next is my big ideas. Now I should have 3 big ideas, and those are yellow. So let's go through and look for my yellows, or my big ideas. I have one of them right here. One thing plants need is water. That's a fact, and it's a full sentence. So one thing plants need is water. That's a big idea. I had that as my first big idea. That's one. Let's look for another one. My next sentence is another thing they need is soil. That's another fact about plants, or a big idea about taking care of plants. So yes, I have 2. I'm going to need to find one more before I'm ready to move on. I see here that finally plants need to be somewhere they can get sunlight. And sun was my 3rd big idea, or my 3rd fact about taking care of plants, and I have a full sentence right there. So you can see that I have 3 full sentences about my big ideas. So I can go ahead and check those off. I have 3 big idea sentences. Next on the checklist is I included a conclusion sentence. So remember, that's my last sentence that wraps up my thinking and reminds the reader what they were reading about, or what my paragraph was about. So I should have my topic somewhere in there. Remember that that was green as well. So let's take a look here. It says, now you know there are many ways to take care of plants. I would make sure I used some of those phrases to help me form my sentence from the front of my journal. And I definitely did have that. Now you know is one of them. There are is another one. And then my topic is ways to take care of plants. Again, I have a full sentence, and it's a conclusion sentence, so I can check that off. You may notice that after it's color-coded, it'll look very similar to the colors that are in your planner. So if I were to keep all of those colored at once, I should be able to see my different spaces like on my planner. So as you can see here, I start with my green, I have my yellows in the middle, and I end with a green as well. My topics sentence at the top, my closing sentence at the bottom, with my 3 big idea sentences in the middle. I'm not quite done yet. Before I'm ready to move on, I need to make sure that all of them are 5-star sentences. As we went through together in this video, we made sure that they were all 5-star sentences as we went, but it's always a good idea to go back and double check. The biggest thing that first graders forget to write in their sentences for expository writing tends to be capital letters and periods at the end. Generally, we do a good job of making sure we have a who and a what and having that the words there for a complete sentence. We just tend to run all of ours together. So please do make sure that you have capital letters and periods, making sure that there's finger spaces and those who's and what's. If you don't have any of those, you need to make sure that you fix them before you move on. Now that you've made sure all of your sentences are 5-star sentences, your writing is really complete. The last little piece that you could do would be drawing a picture at the top and making sure that your name is at the top. 2 very important pieces to help, because we know that pictures help the reader understand what the story is about or what your writing is about. And of course, our name at the top to make sure when we turn it in or when somebody sees it, we know who the author is. Now you know how to write and plan a expository paragraph. If at any time you need to go back through and watch the video again, then please do that, using your resources along the way to make sure that you have all of those pieces and you're able to share all that wonderful knowledge that's in your head.